The Queen has wrapped up crisis talks with senior members of the royal family over Prince Harry and Meghan's wish to step back from their duties. Her Majesty signalled her support for the move, saying there will be a period of transition before they become more independent. Joining me now live from Sandringham is Sky News royal correspondent Rhiannon Mills. Rhiannon, thank you so much for your time this morning. The Queen has effectively given her blessing to Prince Harry and wife Meghan to become more independent.
She has, and it has been an absolutely fascinating few days ever since Harry and Meghan broke that statement, really broke ranks, releasing that statement without informing any senior members of the family. About 24 hours after that, the Queen made clear that she wanted solutions and she wanted them fast. So it was only right that we got that statement on behalf of Her Majesty this evening, in which she spoke in very personal terms, much more personal than we would normally hear. She talks about her family on 3 different occasions. And I think she is making the point that while throughout today we've been talking about these negotiations that have been going on behind closed doors between those senior members of the royal firm, at the heart of this are huge decisions about her grandson's future. Now, in essence, in that statement, she says that she has agreed to this transition period where Harry and Meghan will spend time between the UK and Canada, where she backs them for their desire to have this more independent life. But reading between the lines, we don't know whether or not there was any kind of attempt to talk them out of it, but certainly the statement doesn't seem that there was. It's basically saying that the family are fully behind them. It does, however, still raise a few questions. How exactly are they going to be financed? They say they don't want any public funding. Also, how exactly is it going to work in terms of where they're going to live, how they're going to work, and are they going to be able to keep their royal titles? In the statement, she talks about Harry and Meghan. She doesn't talk about the Duke and Duchess. So do they keep those royal titles or not going forward? I think the final paragraph in that statement, though, is the most telling part of it. She talks about how these are still very complex discussions that need to go forward. She says that she still wants decisions within days. But I think really the complexity revolves not just around how exactly this is going to work practically, but also mending those very fractured relationships within the royal family. After we heard how disappointed and hurt the members of the family were after they broke ranks and released that statement last week.
In the Queen's statement, it appeared to take quite a positive tone as opposed to what we heard last week when this news first broke. Why do you think that the Queen has gone down this route with this statement?
I think, in essence, some of it is down to reputational damage. Look, here in the UK, it's been wall-to-wall media coverage about this problem, really, with Harry and Meghan, what it means for the wider royal family. I understand over in Australia, everyone's talking about it as well. I've been talking to some of your colleagues here today. And I think for the Queen, what's been really important, certainly over the weekend, on Saturday, we were told that this family meeting was going to take place. That in itself is highly unusual. Family meetings probably take place all the time, but normally she likes to try and keep those family matters as private as possible. But she was putting it out there. She wanted it on the front pages of the Sunday papers, that she was taking control, that the family were going to put their differences to one side and they were going to work together. And this evening, within that statement, we're hearing the same thing. She talks about my family. She talks about how they've all been talking together. And she talks about, importantly, how Harry and Meghan are still valued members of the family. This is not just about the firm, it's about those close family relationships. And she wants to try and bring her family together, but also show that this is still a strong institution.
How can Prince Harry and Meghan now work to become financially independent? And what about the other costs, the security costs, and also them living at Frogmore Cottage?
Yeah. So those are the big questions that are still left unanswered. As you say, they have already said on their Sussex Royal website, they've set out their mandate, if you like, how they see things working. They say they want to be financially independent, but how can they do that if they keep their royal titles? Lots of people over here saying you can't have your cake and eat it. You can't have one foot in the royal family and yet be out there trying to tout yourself for business as well as having that royal title. Also, security is a big sticking point. The fact they'll be travelling between the UK and Canada really ramps up those security security costs. They've already said on their website they think they still deserve to have that security paid for. I was talking to someone the other day who said that could be around £1 million a year. So will the taxpayer here in the UK really want to stomach that? So yeah, still huge numbers of questions about how practically this is going to work. But I think for the royal family, what is so important now is that any future statements that come out, they are all singing from the same hymn sheet. And that is what didn't happen last Wednesday. Harry and Meghan went out on a limb. We're told that potentially the Queen had said to Harry, look, don't go public just yet. Hold off on this one. But instead, he went out there, didn't inform senior members of the royal family and simply released that statement. And the Queen does not want that to be happening again. She wants them all to be seen to be singing on that same hymn sheet so that the messaging is very clear that they are working together.
Certainly fascinating the way this has panned out. Just finally, Rhiannon, what happens next and will discussions continue?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I think the most telling part of the Queen's statement is that final paragraph. She talks about there still being complex issues that need to be unpicked, obviously an appreciation that, yeah, that's on a practical side, but also when it comes to the family working a little bit closer together. But also she still says she wants decisions within days, and that's what we've been hearing constantly from the palace. She wants this to happen at pace. She wants it to happen within days and not weeks. So simply we watch and wait over the next few days. We are expecting Prince Harry to be at an event at Buckingham Palace on Thursday. So whether or not we'll have any final decisions by then, we simply have to wait and see.
We're watching that one very closely and look forward to your updates. Sky News royal correspondent Rhiannon Mills, thank you.
We will.